Hi everyone, it's Jason with Parallel Reality here today. Just wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a little bit here. So before we get to the point of what I'm talking about, which you can very clearly see here in the screen cap that you're looking at, but still, before I get to that part, take a minute and think about if you've ever had anyone in your life at any point, and I'm sure you have, I have as well, someone that has just lied to you about everything. And I'm not talking about like necessarily a relationship or anything, just a friend, a family member, a relationship, anything, just anybody who has been in your life that has just lied to you over and over again. Now, it happens one time and you tend to just kind of go, okay, maybe that's a fluke. Okay, whatever, fine. Happens a second time, kind of makes you look at them with a side eye a little bit more. But when it happens a third time, then a fourth time, and then it just becomes a part of who that person is, isn't there a point that you get to where you go, I'm just not going to continue to deal with this person anymore. I just don't want them in my life because they just can't be honest about anything, So let's scale that up a bit, okay, and take that to now what you're looking at on your screen cap, which is our mainstream media. Okay, and what you see on the screen here, okay, is just since Donald Trump received the nomination for the presidency back in, I guess it was sometime in 2015, so probably 7.5 years ago. And just to date this appropriately, I'm recording this on Christmas Eve of 2022. So again, 7.5 years ago. These are a bunch, I don't even know if this is all of them, these are 17 hoaxes that have been perpetrated and continue to be perpetrated and talked about by the mainstream media. So the question again comes back to, if you know the mainstream media is lying to you, why do you continue to listen to them? Everything that they say at this point should be taken with a grain of salt. Okay, and not just like a grain of salt, I'd probably even say like a heaping helping of salt, possibly even a grain of salt so large that God himself would have trouble lifting it. Okay, and I've always been someone throughout my life that's been skeptical of everything that I've been told. I've always been the kind of person that like I want proof, like definitive proof from trusted sources about something that's happening or not. Okay, and the trusted sources are just someone or something, I should say, whether it be a news site, an individual or something, where it's like they can say something and I can go look it up somewhere and be like, all right, that's what's actually happening. Like it gets confirmed in multiple places, and the best thing to do in these cases is, if you're on one side of the political spectrum, it's look and see what the other side is reporting. And again, it doesn't matter which side, but see what they're reporting and see where those two things intersect, what is being reported on your side and their side, and what's the truth. And the rest of it's all everybody else's opinion. Okay, and that's not something that I myself have come up with. That is something I've heard said by many a pundit. So again, we're coming back to you look at the screen and you're looking at all these and you're just like, yeah, basically like none of this stuff has happened. Okay, and you still hear on channels like CNN and MSNBC that they talk about the Russia collusion thing as if Trump is still an asset of Russia. He is not. This isn't even a debatable thing anymore. You got hands up, don't shoot, which was the whole Michael Brown thing, where supposedly the kid said that before he was killed by the cop, and it turns out that Obama's Justice Department actually cleared the police officer, saying that the police officer was in fact the one that was attacked by this kid, and then the cop shot the kid essentially as a I shouldn't say retaliatory, that makes it sound really like it was unlawful, but shot him in self-defense, I guess is what I'm getting at. Go down the list. You see the Jussie Smollett thing. I think we all know about that. In the Covington kids, we know that Nick Sandmann and his friends were essentially smeared by the media when, within a day it came out that, holy crap, the guy who was accosting the kids was actually the bad guy here, not the kids. And you can kind of keep going down the list here. I think about the Rittenhouse thing as well. And there was footage out there a day after, I think it was actually the morning after the incident happened, that showed that Kyle Rittenhouse was defending himself, that he was not just going out there and killing people, that people were chasing after him And the jury, regardless of what you think about the kid, the jury made the right decision. But even as recently as when that jury verdict came down, you saw that the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian with the Young Turks, who I am in no way, shape, or form a fan of, I think they're ridiculous, but she came out and was like, I had no idea that Kyle Rittenhouse didn't kill any black people. And it's like, this was out there. This had been out there for 2 years, and you guys are still reporting on all this stuff. Like Rittenhouse killing black people. It never happened. He didn't even shoot a black person, okay? Doesn't make it any better regardless of the type of person he shot, but you understand what I'm saying. And again, then there's the NASCAR news hoax with Bubba Wallace, which is basically the Jussie Smollett part 2, which turns out that the noose was actually just a garage pull. And it just keeps going on and on and on. And again, I come back to the same question I've already said 2 or 3 times, which is, why do you continue to believe the media when you know that they're lying to you? And there was a question that I asked my parents separately, like a year apart. They weren't by each other, so they couldn't influence each other's decisions at all, or I should say answers on this question. So I want to throw this answer out to you guys and see what you say, because I've always been interested in asking someone more in the political sphere this question just to see what they come up with. And it's actually a 2-part question. So just close your eyes for a sec. Hopefully you're not driving, so don't close your eyes. That would be bad. But think about just the left side of the political spectrum, okay? And just the same 7.5-year period that we have here, okay? The left side of the political spectrum. Think of the news channels, so MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, the websites, Huffington Post, Slate, Vox, Vice, Mother Jones, etc. The individual personalities that you see on Twitter. I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure you can guess who they are. People that are obviously very much solidly on the left. And in this 7.5-year period, how many times have they told you something incorrect? And it's not even limited to what you're seeing on the screen, these 17 things. There's a lot more than that. And I'm not expecting anyone to come up with an actual specific number, like say it's 312 times. Saying like this is probably something that happens daily, and probably more frequently than daily. It's probably a few times a day at least that this happens, that someone on the left is misreporting something and that they're basically untrustworthy. Now, you don't have to agree with me. That's totally fine if you don't. But we know this at this point, that they're not interested in telling you the truth. So again, why do you believe them? Why do you believe these folks? And I'm sincerely asking you these questions. If you're one of those folks that is listening to what I'm saying and saying all this stuff is actually true, these aren't hoaxes, tell me why. I want to know why you believe that, even in the face of not just evidence, but definitive, conclusive proof that I would say practically everything on this list has been debunked, or debunked to the point where it's like you probably really shouldn't take it as seriously as it is. And I'm looking at one specifically on there that's highlighted, the global warming one, which that's a whole nother video in and of itself, so I can save that for another time. But so think about that. And now the second part of the question is the exact same criteria, but the right side of the political spectrum. So you think Fox News, Newsmax, OAN for like actual media channels. You're looking at websites like Breitbart, Daily Wire, Red State, PJ Media, Town Hall. You're looking at people on, I guess, the individual people. Again, not going to name people, but I'm not saying everybody on the right tells the truth all the time and the truth is on the right, but I'd say it's a lot more clear to me that you're going to get true information, okay, from people that are on the right side of the spectrum than you would from people on the left. Okay? And the truth is important. We got to have it, because we're seeing what's happening when all these lies go out there is that the wrong people get elevated and then they're going to get shot down as soon as the truth comes out. But there's that saying, I'm going to totally butcher it now, but a lie goes all the way around the world before the truth comes out. So it's like everybody hears all the BS, and that's kind of the point, before you realize that the truth comes out, and then nobody talks about the truth. It's like being a newspaper, say like the New York Times or the Washington Post, which should be included in the criteria on the left side of the political spectrum, and they put something on the front page like Russia collusion, just looking at the very top thing on this list. And then when it turns out that none of that was actually true, and Robert Mueller came out and was like, yeah, we didn't find any evidence of this, they'll put it on like page 36 so that like nobody actually sees it. It's buried. That's just kind of the plan. That's just kind of what they do. So that's really what I wanted to say, is just, why do you continue to believe these people when they are invested in lying to you? Okay, the mainstream media specifically. So any of those sites and outlets that I mentioned coming from the left, okay, they don't care about you. They don't care about the truth. They're just interested in pushing a narrative at all costs, and they don't care whether you know it or not. That being said, just please like, share, and subscribe. The article that I have the screen cap from is linked below, regardless of what you think about Breitbart, because that's where the article comes from. They, as far as I'm aware, have never been accused even of false information. You may not like what they say, but that doesn't mean what they said is incorrect. So that's why I use this article from there. So again, the article is listed below. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you later, and I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday season. Thank you.